Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by Bernard Golden, author of AWS for Dummies. Bernard, welcome to the show.
Hey, Paul, thanks so much for inviting me to be on your podcast.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would like to give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Well, the thing that I always talk about to people is be sure you understand your purpose and what your objective is in terms of wanting to publish this book. You know, is it to build your personal brand? Is it to write in a particular genre that you think is a fruitful one to be published and sell a lot of copies? Is it something that will be used as part of your work? So really have that in mind when you go into it so that you can understand, really that's the foundation of everything else you're going to do about that book. So be sure you understand your purpose and of course, I mean your topic, but whatever your topic is, be sure you understand the purpose of what you're trying to achieve by publishing a book.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, it depends. There's sort of two big areas now of publishing. There's commercial publishing, where you get published by a commercial publisher. And there's also self-publishing, which you can do, and there's a large range of tools with that. For commercial publishing, it's sort of it's quite obvious in one sense, is convincing a publisher to publish your book. And really, generally, that's quite challenging because if you just approach them cold, they get a zillion proposals, they get a zillion contacts every year, and it's kind of like, well, how do you stand out? And all the publishers have, you can submit something on their website, kind of thing. What I've talked to many people and helped many people get published who had gone that route and found that it seemed like their electronic submission from the website had just disappeared into the vapor. So it's really about how do you make a connection with somebody inside a publisher that will then look at your proposal warmly or help you flesh out the proposal. And so, it's kind of I hate to say it, it's in a way a know who, not know how, but that's a very important, factor. How do you find the right person with whom to have a conversation about your book and have a warm audience for the proposal?
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
Well, one of the things that every publisher talks about today, every commercial publisher, is what's your platform? How are you going to promote this book? They don't want to mostly take an author who, is an unknown and then hope that they're going to find an audience. So they're like, how are you going to be able to promote this book? How will you do that? Well, as part of that, what I did was I knew a lot of people in the domain around Amazon Web Services, and I worked with Dummies Press, and we identified about 50 thought leaders, people who were important and influential in this space, sent them a copy of the book and asked them to review it and look it over, and then post a review on Amazon. Because as you know, Amazon is kind of a de facto place that people go to, learn what the quality of the book is. They look at the reviews, they look at the ratings, and so forth. So that was a strategy that worked really well. Identify an influential audience, send people, copies at no charge to them, and then ask them to post a review.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Well, it's perhaps a bit ironic. It's, I've written or co-authored 5 or 6 technology books, but the book that is most influential that I feel is my favorite book is a book called The Magus by John Fowles. And it's a really amazing book, and I would encourage everyone to read it. And the thing that I took away from it is that our beliefs and our expectations about how the world operates is often a skewed perspective, and that there are complete other realms that we're not aware of that can have a magical effect on us if we become attuned to them.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Gosh, well, I'm a huge Winston Churchill aficionado. I think he was an amazing, amazing political leader and an incredible author and orator. And he once said, "If you're going through hell, keep going." And I think that's a pretty good advice, because everyone encounters challenges, setbacks, problems, and so forth. And they don't get better on their own generally. If you wait for something to improve, it generally won't. You have to take action. So, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Excellent. Well, Bernard, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Well, the best way is really my personal website, which is bernardgolden.com. And you can go there and see I blog there pretty frequently and talk about topics that are in front of mind for me. And that's a great way for people to get connected with me.
Well, Bernard, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Hey, Paul, thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.